Father in heaven, we thank you for being our God. We thank you for caring about our souls and caring about our grief and our loved ones that Shadrach has lost. And we pray that you help him to overcome his challenges that he's facing in his personal work. And we ask, Father, that you help us all be balanced in our ministries and find harmony and be able to overcome obstacles so that we can all get our work done. And we know, Father, that you've called us to do things in order and organized ways and decently. And I know, Father, that I, for one, can be impulsive in my actions. And Father, I pray that you help me to rein those in and be more organized. Help us, Father, to just hunker down and do our best to accomplish what's set before us so that we can be good ministers of the gospel, good proclaimers of your word, and proficient at helping others in their problems. And may your will be done. Through Christ you pray. Amen.
Amen.
I want to start off saying that I am not a journalist. I do write, but more on the academic side. And that's why I've had more of an academic side to what I'm teaching in this class, just because more of what I'm familiar with. But my task is to teach the journalistic side of it. And so I have borrowed from websites and I've borrowed from different places as sources and resources to teach this class. Now, back in 1994, I graduated college with a Bachelor of Science in Radio TV Broadcasting. That is a long time ago, and things have changed a lot in the industry since then. And so I'm in a way learning right along with you, gentlemen. And so, with that being said, I want to share something with you. First, I want to start off with today's agenda, what I want to do today. This is the sixth week of our class. Can you believe that? We are halfway through the class. Now, you may be doing jumping jacks, or you may be saying, oh man, I wish this was a longer class, which I doubt. But the first thing I want to talk about this morning is how to responsibly use ChatGPT. And the Chicago Manual of Style allows you to use ChatGPT if you use it responsibly. And the second thing I want to talk about is accuracy and accountability in reporting. Now, this lecture is designed to talk about reporting from the framework of journalism as though you were going to report a story in the news. Uh, and I'm going to show you something when I get into that outline. However, everything in that outline can be used for academic writing, and that's why we're using the CMOS. Then I'm going to assign homework. And after we assign homework, I'm going to take questions from the class. I have graded up through the fourth assignment, but I have not had time to grade last week's assignment. I have not gotten to it. I was grading this morning and I got to last week's assignment and I just ran out of time. So we'll talk about the interviews next time we get together. But let me just ask you at this point, do you have questions about the interview article?
I have a question related to the assignment last week. There's an issue I have noticed in the comment that you made, and I was honestly curious about this when I wrote that paper, because when you use the Chicago Manual style in Word and you document your source in the format, and the author I was using had a junior in his name, and what it did on Microsoft was, instead of putting his last name in there, it put junior. in there, and I'm assuming because it was the last thing in that biographical citation that it used. So I don't know if there's a way to get around that in Microsoft Word. Because I didn't think you could put that junior anywhere else in the name because it's Hoy Wallace Jr. But like you brought out, and I was curious, I was like, well, it's supposed to be doing it right, you know. And then I don't know if that's something that can be overcome or if we just have to
Well,
kind of enter that in manually to get around them.
you have to enter it in manually, I
Okay.
suppose,
Okay.
because software and computers, they're not entirely accurate, are they? They're not. We have to rely upon our minds. Unfortunately, with the creation of technology, some of our own intuitiveness and our own creativity is zapped by the power of computer science. And so we have to rely upon our own wit sometimes and go back in and do things correctly and correct the problems that are in technology. And so that was one occasion where Junior is not Foy E. Wallace's last name, it's
Sure.
Wallace.
Sure.
So,
Of
yeah.
course, and I was thinking about that. I was like, well, maybe it does that in the software because you're going to look at that citation and you're going to go to the biography or the not the autobiography to the references and you say, oh, the junior is there, but obviously,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anybody else will ever run into that issue, but of course, it would be me, and just something for the rest of the gentlemen in class to kind of be aware of if they kind of ever come across that using, Word or something else, that it does have to, has to be the author's last name in there, that it doesn't do that correctly in using that resource in Word.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're doing a fantastic job in your writing, so don't let that discourage you.
All right. All right. Appreciate it.
All right. So, this is on accuracy and reporting in accuracy and accountability in reporting. Oh, I wanted to go to the CMOS first. Hold on a second, guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. So if you were to use Chat GPT or citing AI generated content in your writing, if you use content that's generated by a chat bot or similar AI tool, you must make it clear how the tool has been used. Okay. Either in the text or in a preface or whatever. Um, any specific content that you use, whether you quote it or paraphrase it, should be cited where it occurs, either in the text or in a note. So anything you use, basically, ChatGPT is the author of the content, though it's not in the traditional sense, and OpenAI or the publisher or developer, they need to know where the piece came from. Okay, and here's how you cite it. Some different ways you can do it, and I'll show you how I used it in just a moment in my outline today. The following recipe for pizza dough was generated on December 9th, 2023 by ChatGPT 3.5. And then you go right into the recipe. Okay, so you start your text with that disclaimer, and then you go into the recipe. Or if you're in a note, here's your note one, your footnote one. Text generated by ChatGPT 3.5 OpenAI December 9th, 2023. And then you give the reference of the note that it created for that ChatGPT. It always generates some kind of, you can generate a URL for that note when you share a note, you can generate a URL for that note. Okay. Or two, response to explain how to make pizza dough from common household ingredients. you type that into your query for Chat GPT. That's your query. And here's the response to that query. The query is in quotation marks, and then comma, close quotation marks, Chat GPT 3.5, OpenAI, December 9th, 2023, edited for style and accuracy. So if you take something from Chat GPT and then you edit for style and accuracy of what it said, then you put that at the end of it, you edited it for style and accuracy what Chat GPT did for you. Okay.
Yeah, can I ask you a quick question about that? Because that ties into a question I kind of had about my interviews. So I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, when we were talking about citing things, and one of the guys in class asked about this before I did, I believe, that we don't, if we're citing something directly, we don't change it. But what I'm reading there is that we can edit for style and accuracy. And one of the things I was, in trying to use the Hemingway app, plugging things in, especially for last week, I'm quoting my interviewer and it's finding all kinds of stuff, with what they have said. But I left it alone. I didn't try to correct what they said since it was a direct quotation. So in using this kind of situation for AI, is this kind of the exception to the rule to that we can
Yeah.
edit and change it?
It's AI like this is two authors. It's basically the AI is the author and you are the author. Okay, because you prompted it to ask you to explain something. It explained it, and now you can edit the explanation based upon what style you want it to say it in. So it's basically AI has created something based on the prompts that you gave it. Now you can edit to fit your piece. Of course, now the way we do not want to use AI, let me clarify, we don't want to prompt it. Uh, we don't want to say, let me just give you an example. Let's see if I can bring up my AI prompt. Let's say, do not say this. Is the kingdom of Christ coming? Write a 500 word essay. That is the wrong way to use Chat GPT, guys. Okay. Because it will do it and you can edit it for style and all that. But no, that is not acceptable. Okay. But what you can do, here's what you can do. Okay. Give me five, let's say, sources where, ooh, what happened to my keyboard? Whoops. Come back here. Where I can, my keyboard's going wonkers on me. Where I can study about the coming kingdom. Why is it doing that? Kingdom of Christ. And let's see what it does. I've never done this before. Let's see what it does. Here you go. Here's you some resources. And then here's some, these leisure, let me get this picture out of the way. Here's one from a Reformed theologian, John Piper. Desiring God. See, I don't know what all these are, but these Keith Matheson, these are a lot of these are premillennialists or something like that. Kingdom eschatology. That's a way you can begin looking into your research. Okay. And then you can go and you can research these guys. Okay. And then it asks you if you like, I can send 5 freely available online resources, articles, lectures, and papers you can access right away, no purchase needed. And then you could say yes or no or whatever just to begin your research. It's an amazing research tool, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's say that I have a friend who had it write a sermon for him. I don't recommend you do that, but he did it. Um, Today, I want to share something else with you. I want to show you what I did with ChatGTP just to show you what I wanted to you could do. Is that the wrong share? That's the wrong share. Share. Here it is. All right. This is. Are we sharing the? Is it you see red? Do you see red writing on there?
The accuracy and
Okay.
accountability.
Okay. All right. That is what I wanted to talk about today, but I had a hard time organizing my thoughts. So I prompted Chat GPT to give me an outline. And um, I just wrote at the top, based upon the CMOS requirement, the following outline for accuracy and accountability in reporting was generated on October 15th, 2025 by Chat GPT 3.5. And it gave me an outline. Now, it doesn't tell me everything to say in my lecture. It just gives me an outline. You know, if you were writing a research paper, you might ask it to write you a table of contents. You might ask it to write you, um, I don't know what you might use it to do, but it's a tool. It's a tool if you use it responsibly and ethically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But don't abuse it. You use it responsibly and ethically, like all things.
I was about to say, wouldn't it be a pretty good piece of wisdom just to use it kind of sparingly, if that makes sense, not to have too much of an over reliance on it?
Right. If you over rely on AI, it will chew away your mind and you won't be as creative as you need to be in your ministry, preaching, writing, or anything else. It will chip away at your creative mind. Okay. Is there any questions or comments from
Just
anyone
one
else in
real
class?
quick. I was trying to pay attention to the citation. Of course, I know with the interviews, those don't have to be in the bibliography. But as far as the Chat GPT reference, is that similar to quoting an interview? That as long as you footnote it or cite it in text, you don't have to put it in the bibliography. Do I have that right?
You don't have to put your interview in the bibliography, but you do
Right.
have to put it in line or in a note.
But with Chat GPT, does it work the same way, or does it also belong in the bibliography?
Let's go look. I don't remember. Let's
Okay.
see.
Because I thought like it, I was trying to read it and I thought I saw something about it possibly being in a bibliography, so I didn't know it required or just optional.
It just says this is how you cite it in the text, and this is how you cite it in a note. That would be a footnote, for example.
Well, I'm looking down forward to if for any reason it's included in the bibliography, so I didn't
Yeah,
know.
that's it.
I, is it optional or is it?
Yeah, it says if for any reason, it'll be optional, I guess. If you
Okay.
need to do it, if you need to do it, an AI conversation is included in a bibliography or reference list cited under the name of the publisher or developer rather than the name of the tool. Include a publicly available URL. So Google response to how many copywriters does it take to fix a book link manuscript? Gemini. That Gemini is the name of the AI. Google's the publisher. The date that you use Gemini, and here is the URL to the conversation. Okay, and that's what a bibliography entry would look like. So today we're going to establish the importance of accuracy and accountability in writing. And let me ask you something, class. Can a story or academic paper be powerful but still be wrong?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what happens when it is?
Well, if we're talking about church-related matters and is building on the idea of there being a future kingdom, it can lead people away from the truth. It can lead people away from a proper interpretation of the Bible. And I mean, for most of the men in this class, that's one of the things we all need to be concerned about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so we're going to look at these words today: accuracy, verification, accountability, and transparency. You need to learn those terms in your notes. And so first we're going to look at the ethical foundation of accuracy. Um, I have a I have this article right here, the Society Professional Journalist Code of Ethics. I'll share it with you. And we're going to write about that code of ethics in week 8. And I've already put it on Moodle for your download. Um, it's small print, but if you download it onto your computer, maybe you can make it bigger. We'll have an assignment based and an ethics paper assignment based upon this document. Okay, just so that you know that it's there. So that paper will talk about the writer or the journalist's duty to truth. And let me ask you something. What do you think the difference is between truth and accuracy? Are they the same thing, or can there be some differences between them?
I believe there are some differences between them.
Okay,
Because
what are? Go ahead, Shadrach. Tell me about it.
yeah, the accuracy from the way I understand it is the how the work has been done. There is no maybe grammatical errors and things like that. But when we say the truth is stand by itself. The work may not be accuracy in writing and things like that, but it can be the or what the case presented is the truth. So I don't know how I can explain that, but I think there are some differences in that.
That's very good. Brother Tom, I see your hand up.
Well, thank you. I think he has said part of the thing I had in mind, but I also think accuracy, or in first place, truth is presentation of facts. But in my understanding, accuracy has to do with the orderliness, the proper arrangement of material.
Okay. Those are both excellent answers. Would you say that truth has a lot to do with value type things? And, um, Jesus said truth will set you free essentially from sin. That's a value oriented type thing. Accuracy has to do with factual, concrete things. Um, it's a fact that I buttered my bread this morning before I ate my toast. Okay, that's a fact. But what you didn't know is that the truth of the matter is that if I had not eaten my toast, I would have been hungry this morning. I mean, there's a value behind there's a value behind the accuracy of the facts. Um, so, what are some common causes? Well, here are some common causes of inaccuracy: being in too much of a rush to publish your work or get it in print or get your paper turned in on time, bias in your assignment, making assumptions, poor fact checking. If you did your interview paper and you didn't check the facts behind what the people said, maybe you turned in an inaccurate assessment in your paper because you didn't check the facts. I don't know. But being in too much of a hurry usually is the biggest one out of all of these, it seems to me, because we get behind and we get in a hurry and we just don't get everything done in time. That's my biggest problem is when I get inaccurate when I get in a hurry. But some people have a problem being biased. I believe what I believe because that's the way I believe it. There's no change in my mind. Or making assumptions. Well, I just knew you believe this. This is just I assume that this is just the way that it is. There's lots of reasons people can be inaccurate in their ethics. Well, let's talk about accountability. Taking responsibilities for errors, corrections, retractions, clarifications. I think a lot of time, well, you can see from time to time in a publication like a newspaper, they don't make those much anymore. But if you on an online paper or article on Yahoo or MSN, every now and then you'll see them make a correction or a retraction because they made a mistake in their publication. And that's taking a responsibility for an error. And that's very big in journalism. It has an impact on how much the public trusts. There was here a few years ago, there's a big thing about fake news, and that was the feeding of misinformation to the public. And editors and peer reviewing have a lot to do with protecting the public from fake news. Have any thoughts along those lines, guys? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have I'm going to give you a little bit of some, here are some tools that you can use these to fact check. These are websites you can use to fact check articles and journalistic pieces out there. And this is a really good one right here. This is Google's Fact Check Explorer. That's a link to it. I'm going to click on it, see where we can go. Okay. And did it bring it up for us? No. Okay, let me share the screen. Share. What about now? Now that's where it took us. Google Fact Check Tools. And you can go up here to the search bar and you can search for facts or a topic or a person. And here's some that have been made, for example, in the more recently. And you can fact check any claim that's been made in the news and see if it's true or false or anything like that. It's toolbox.google.com fact check /fact check /explorer. Can you see that up there? /search / I'm just going to put this, I think I'm just going to put this on I think you can see it in my paper better than you can see it.
Well, Donnie, I was about to say, I just pulled up Google on my web page, and all I did was Google fact check tools, and it took me right to where.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you can go up to the top and copy and paste that website address if you want to put it in your notes. But as long as you can remember the fact check tools and Google that,
yeah,
it'll take you to the page.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so and there's other this 10i is an image fact checker, and it can trace the image back to its original source, and so can Google reverse image search. It can do the same thing. And political facts here, and then you got Snopes, source documentation logs. All these are source and fact checking websites. So you're going to need at least two or three of these, at least one of these, I don't know, to check some facts in a moment, because I'm going to give you some homework on this. So you might want to take a screenshot of this right here. So I want you to do some homework for me. Okay, so the race to break news online versus getting it right. Examples where misfortune spread rapidly, breaking news, misidentifications. Question: How can journalists balance being first and being right? What do you think? This is in the world of news. This is just a journalism, basic journalism question. How can you be first at the news and be right at the same time? Let me turn the question a little more direct to you. How can you get your work turned in on time and be correct in your writing? What do you think? Just do your assignment on time, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think some of that goes back to some of the things you mentioned prior, is to not procrastinate, to plan your time accordingly. Because
Yes.
you know you got a deadline, you
Mhm.
know, like writing a sermon, or you have to have a bulletin article in by a certain time. Well, you want to start writing on that and outlining and getting ideas for it as soon as you can,
Mhm.
as opposed to, oh, the bulletin goes out, or I got to have a sermon ready, or I got to be class ready. Let me do this in the previous hour. So, you know, I was really thinking about what you said with that haste. I mean, hurrying yourself is going to cause a lot of problems. So
Oh, yeah.
hurrying yourself, even in this, that I mean, it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause issues. There's going to be
Mhm.
errors sneak in. So a little bit of planning and a little bit of you know, reminding yourself perhaps to slow down, or maybe even being honest about it, saying, you know what, I need more time than this. I know to plan better next time, or you know, something along that lines.
Right. Very good. Good comment. So here's some scriptures on this idea. Uh, Proverbs 12:22, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. James 3:1, teachers and communicators will be held to a stricter judgment. I don't know about that's more of a paraphrase, I guess, but uh, it's truth. What does Christian integrity look like in journalism? And how do accountability and repentance apply when journalists err? Well, we need integrity, right? I mean, integrity. Uh, what is integrity to you guys? What does it mean to be a stand-up guy with integrity?
Like honesty kind of goes along with that quite a bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think there's also an element of humility. I think when it comes to integrity, because it's not a matter of being perfect all the time and never making mistakes, but having the humility to come out and say, you know what, I reported this wrong, I got something wrong, maybe even admitting I hurried on this. I didn't fact check it, I didn't research it. I'm sorry. And you
Mhm.
just, you know, right, you don't have to sweep it behind a corner or anything like that, but just be open and honest enough. And I think there's more respect for the man or individual who does that than opposed to the one that refuses to admit that something was wrong and kind of doubling down on their position.
Right. Very good. Thank you. I really appreciate all that. All good comments you're good. Good comments you're giving me. So let's recap. Always verify your facts before you publish. Admit and correct mistakes as prompt as you can. and maintain transparency with your audiences. How does accountability strengthen both journalism and faith?
I'll give you a specific example from something that happened to me in church. Uh, I don't know when I heard it, where I read it, or what it was, but I heard something and I took it as gospel, so to speak. And I use it in illustrations, and I was never called out on it this just happened maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, where I'm preaching at now. One of the ladies of the congregation came up. She said, I've never heard that. Um, where did you get that? And I said, oh, and I couldn't think of the resource off the top of my mind. I said, you know what? I'll dig into it. I'll get it for you, because I was like, I've heard it so many times, it's got to be out there. Until I started to look into it myself and realized there wasn't a whole lot of support for it. And so I kind of came back to it and I said, you know what? I'm glad you called. I'm glad you asked for that, because I would have kept repeating this for who knows how long. And just because I heard somebody else preach it or give it in a class, I just kind of took it. I said, well, they said it. I'll go with it, until somebody said they wanted more. And so, I mean, you talk about strengthening faith and knowledge. I mean, when she asked me for that, I just assumed it was out there and realized, I mean, it was a teaching and learning moment for me as much as it was probably her. I was like, oh, I don't need to take too many things for granted, even if it comes from a trusted source. So I'm like, I have carried that with me for a while. And
Right.
so like even if I hear something from somebody I know and trust, it's not that I'm going to assume everything is wrong, but I want to take a look into what you learned and the source you had, so that I can quote it properly.
Mm. I get that. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, guys. Here's your homework. Now, I would like you to go to Christianity Today. Let me go there with you right now. Um, where did my browser go? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, this is ChristianityToday.com. Okay. And it's not a Church of Christ website, so that's okay. They use this. I actually subscribe to this magazine because they have a lot of news type items on it. They're very relevant to the things that are happening in the times today. And what I the journalism on this website is really rather good. And what I'd like you to do is go into the news and pick an article, and your assignment is to take an article and fact check at least 5 details out of that article. Okay. Then I want you to submit a report identifying any accuracies or missing citations. Okay. If you're unable to do that, that's my preferred assignment. It's the one I prefer that you do. If you don't want to do that, you may have a reflection essay of 500 words or more. Why is accountability essential to both professional journalism and Christian witness? By that I mean I don't know what I mean. That was not my word. That was ChatGPT's word. But however you want to reward that, it's fine with me. We can just leave it right here. Why is accountability essential to professional journalism? Okay. So if you still don't like that article, you can do number 3, and that's a correction draft. Write a mock correction for a hypothetical reporting mistake and explain the ethical process behind it. Now that seems like it's very difficult to me. That I would have a hard time with that one myself. So I don't know why you would want to choose that one, but you could. So any questions? Okay, that being said, then we will let me just take any questions from anybody on any subject that deals with Christian journalism from beginning to end until present, that is, that you may have. All right. You guys have a blessed week. Take care now.